Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today, as you can see, I'm doing the Rhinestone Skull face, and I am starting with the eyebrows. I'm using my Anastasia Dip Brow, but honestly you can skip this step because I am going to put black paint on my face anyway, so this was really just wasted time. I'm going to go in with the Sephora Airbrush foundation, and I know that I'm going to be putting black and white paint all over my face, but I really wanted to have a very clean base because it will show up and kind of peep through in certain places, so I just wanted to make sure that it looks perfect underneath everything. And I am using the Real Technique sponge to blend it out. And I'm going to be using the Mercier translucent powder to set everything in place and make sure that it doesn't budge as I'm adding things on top. I'm gonna go and start sketching out the outlines of the skull. So I'm using a tiny little brush and a contour powder. I'm gonna dip in mainly into the darker brown and start sketching things out. So I looked at a skull picture and drawings of skulls to kind of see where I'm gonna sketch things out. I started out with the easiest, which is going to be the eyes. Obviously you just want to do kind of sunken in eyes. So I'm going to be putting big circles around my eyes and then later on filling them in with black paint. Then you want to go and start sketching out your jawline. So I'm putting a line from the top of my ear down to my lip, kind of, as you can see here. So just kind of follow what I'm doing. And then underneath that line, I'm going to draw a very similar and parallel line and kind of bring it down a little bit more towards the bottom of my face. And then obviously you have to draw a line from the other end. And all the negative space is going to be filled in with black, so this is going to create that hollow look. The easiest way to do this is literally to look at a picture and just sketch out what the picture looks like. I did end up going over the lines a couple of times, and then the beauty of using a shade like this and something that is easily buffed in is you can literally use your finger to swipe away anything that you messed up on. If you go in with a black liner or a black paint immediately, you're going to have trouble getting it off your face. I'm going to go in and do the exact same thing on the other side. Next, what I'm doing is sketching out the little black nose that I'll be doing, which is kind of self-explanatory. You just kind of have the peaks of this. You've seen this a million times, so I'm just wanting to make sure that I have a base down so that it's easier for me to do it with actual black liner. And this is where the fun part begins. So I'm taking some of the Ben Nye paint colors that I have and a little flat kind of base to work on. This is actually like a little lip paint palette that I have, and I'm just scooping out some of the black that's in here and depositing it on the palette so that it's easier to work with. And taking a flat kind of dense brush, I'm going to start dipping into this black paint and filling in the negative space on my face where I want it to be black. Now I'm going to pick up an even smaller little brush and start detailing the other lines that I have drawn down. And picking up a little fluffier brush, I'm kind of going to start smoking out and kind of buffing the color in so that it's not as precise. I want this to be slightly messy and a little blown out. Keeping that same brush that I took to kind of smoke out the skinnier lines, I'm taking a good amount of the black paint and starting to sketch out where my teeth should be. Later on, I will be applying rhinestones here. Since I didn't actually have any white paint, I'm taking the NYX Big Jumbo pencil in white. It's kind of like an eye base, and I'm just gonna smash some of that on the little plate that I'm using and use a very tiny liner brush to start adding more dimension into where my teeth are. I'm just adding little white lines, and then I'm just gonna keep adding them as I see fit. So you kind of want to do 2 lines on both sides of the black and kind of meet them at the top. If you want to think of it in a kind of biological scientific way, a tooth is kind of thick and big at the base, and then the root kind of goes up. So you kind of want to mimic the same thing. And now I'm actually going to take a felt tip liner. This is the Eyeko liner, I want to say. I will list it down below, and I'm just going to go and start adding on my nose. Anything that's very finely tipped like that is going to be the easiest bet on getting your lines very nice and precise. Don't really worry about the nose. I'm going to go over this way down the line with the actual face paint, so kind of just get your shape of the nose down, and then you can move on to something else. Now taking a Luxie contour brush, I'm going to dip into some black eyeshadow, which in this tutorial I'm using the Kat Von D black eyeshadow. I'm going to start buffing a contour line on my forehead. I want to blend the eye sockets into the contour, kind of with a seamless line, so I'm just going to keep blending until I have the colors right. I will be adding in some of that brown contour color to kind of make the blending easier, just because this black is kind of hard to blend out on the face. I really jumped around on what I ended up doing on the face. I kind of would just get frustrated and move on. So what I'm doing now is taking some concealer with a flat brush and adding that onto my eyelid so I can go ahead and add the glitters there. First, I'm going to be going in with the Stila Liquid Metals eyeshadow, and I'm going to put that on the back of my hand and use a flat brush to apply it all over the eye. Was not enough pigmentation for me. For some reason it was just not transferring right. Maybe it's the black paint and then the concealer, not quite sure. I did end up going over it with some loose pigment as well in a very similar color. For mascara, I'm using my Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, and I'm coating my top and my bottom lashes quite generously. So I did end up cutting a lot of this out, but I did do a lot of research on how people apply rhinestones to their face, and mostly everyone used spirit gum glue. So this was a complete fail for me. The rhinestones kept falling off. I did end up going with lash glue. I used the Duo lash glue in clear, and this gave me no problem at all. You just have to make sure that you try to apply the rhinestones to the flattest part of your face. So when I was doing my top lip, this wasn't extremely flat, so I ended up applying that more above my lip. And then for my bottom lip, the lip is just big and has enough surface area, so they ended up sticking there, which was fine. Then I just went and moved on to my forehead using that same lash glue and kind of picked out the rhinestones that I liked and applied them in the middle of my forehead. This, obviously, when you're doing, you can do any rhinestones, any gems, you can do any color combinations. I just kind of did a round circle on my forehead. So after the rhinestones were down, I wanted to fill in the white space on my forehead, so I ended up doing a triangle since this is the only thing that kind of fit with my rhinestones. I did the triangles, shaded them in, and kind of messed around with more contouring around the forehead to kind of make everything go together. Then I also took that brush and that black eyeshadow and started kind of smoking everything else on the face and adding black eyeshadow on top of where I applied the face paint. This just kind of locks everything in place and makes sure that it's not going to move, and it also adds a little bit more of dimension. Now I am starting to use some glitter, so I'm taking my Midnight Cowboy. I think this is my Urban Decay glitter liner, and I'm just going to start adding this glitter everywhere there's white space. At this point, it's all about details since most of the work is actually done. So now you kind of want to add the whites and the blacks around each other. So if there's black, you want to do white on both sides. This adds a little bit more dimension and a little bit more depth. And obviously details ends up looking really nice. So just keep applying this everywhere. I'm also adding the white underneath my eyebrows and things like that. And also you just want to do the exact same thing as you're doing with the white and black with the glitter. So I'm applying this underneath my eyes just to give it a little bit more pop. Now I moved on to fixing the way that the teeth are. So I'm adding little dots of black right above where the rhinestone is. This is kind of just to continue where the tooth would be. And then I'm also doing out at the bottom. This you kind of want to drag out a lot more than I did. I ended up going back in and dragging this out. You kind of want to fill as much of the white space as possible with this part of your mouth. So I'm going in with the black, then I go around it with the white, and then I go around it with the glitter. And I really didn't like how much white space I had up above where my mouth is. So I just kind of started adding black lines and kind of molding them around my jawline. And then obviously I added the white in there, and then I added on the glitter as well just to make this whole look as cohesive as possible. So my camera died, but at the end I ended up adding more white lines underneath the hollow cheeks, and then I ended up shading underneath my jawline with the black eyeshadow, and I was all done. So I hope that you do enjoy this, and I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye!